Okay, we're getting there. Getting there. Well, we had the water heater explode on Sunday night, and so yesterday was a little bit of a disaster. And I put up my thoughts on salience, and this is now screwed up because I wonder what happened here. It went to the wrong window because I closed the window in the wrong order. There we go. Okay, now it's working. And I got a really nice, um, had a really nice message on LinkedIn yesterday um, from a fellow at Procter and Gamble, and he liked the story. And of course, Tom Fishburne used to be at Procter and Gamble, so a brand manager, is a brand manager over there, and he said some really nice things um, about how young people, most of the marketing literature available is totally baloney, and he liked that I try to give you the straight scoop, but I told him that um, mainly the reason I'm able to do that is because so few people watch, and to get these nice comments from across the world really spoils that image in my head. I might have to be careful with what I say, but I'll try to sally forth nevertheless. So let's. But I really appreciated that from Miguel. So I'll send him a thank you or send him a link to this today. So um, if you're on YouTube or on, and this one's dead. My comments thing is dead, but we'll try and get it running. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I'll go over to LinkedIn and see if I can get on there. And here it comes. I'll cut all this out. Miguel, you'll probably find this somewhere if you really, really want to figure it out. I don't see me even going to LinkedIn right now. So it's almost always running on YouTube. So if you really want to be consistently seeing it, I think YouTube is probably the solid place to go now. Hey, great to see you, Peggy and Keith down in Phoenix. Thanks for tuning in. So let's get started. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm John Miglash for the Wisconsin DMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. And thanks to Tom Fishburne, we have something to talk about today. It's called the Personalization Privacy Paradox. So zero-party data, that's the new thing. The gym shoes you liked in our survey are on sale. Great. First-party data, the gym shoes you browsed last year are on sale. Like I still care. Second-party data, I hear you have a gym membership. Need any shoes? What? Okay, LinkedIn is working. Well, it is for you, whoever that is, LinkedIn user. Thank you for that. Third-party data. Maybe you wouldn't have skipped your workout today if you had new shoes. Yeah, that's really creepy. I think that's probably the best summary of what's going on in the zero, first, second, third-party data world that I've ever seen. So thanks for that, Tom. And yeah, good morning, Style Consultant. Consumers expect personalized experiences. I hear that, but my own expectations are so low and so unmet that I really don't think that that's true. It's said over and over and over. But for example, my biggest example and my frequent example is ESPN. So I did tune into the NBA for the first time in maybe 40 years, maybe 50, because the Bucks actually won the NBA title, which is almost miraculous for a small market team. And so it brings back memories of when I was, 13 years old and they last won or something like that. And so why does ESPN now, I come back there today and it's full of women's gymnastics. I'm not sure that's a sport. I mean, it's a sort of a faux sport. Whenever whenever a sport relies on a panel of judges entirely to decide the winner, and I'm not saying I've seen it be biased, but I'm not saying it is biased. Even I can tell who's better and who's worse. They've quantified subjectivity to some extent, but so ballroom dancing is athletic and similar, right? Heck, World Chess Championships are athletic. You have to work out, So why doesn't ESPN just give me? I don't ever want to see information on this unless I explicitly ask for it. But basically, I never want to see information on this. And if you look at the NBA, then you get women's, the WNBA, and that's okay. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are big fans. I'm not a big fan, and I'm not following Major League Baseball much. I'm basically going to the Tottenham Hotspurs, but if you don't know what that is, don't be surprised. But they don't even let me rule out what I don't want to see. I mean, how pathetic is that? So they give me who do you want to follow, and then infer from that, or try to, that I want to follow all the rest of it and fill my feed. I mean, it's bad enough the advertising in the middle of feed now, but let me at least rule out the sports I hate. Okay? I mean, I'd rather have information on professional poker than on some of these sports I just mentioned. And I'm not saying you can't be a fan and that they're not real and you can love them as much as you want. But as far as personalized experience goes, awful. Yeah, MMA. I love MMA. Put that at the top. Let me rank my preferences. Don't just ask me who I follow. And you know what? Bubba Watson is like one of my favorite sports figures, and a lot of people don't think golf is a sport, and I'm not too far from that. The fact that Phil Mickelson won the PGA, any sport that a 50-year-old can win the top tournament in the Professional Golfers Association, Babylon B said this proves that golf isn't a sport, and maybe that's true. But can I follow Bubba Watson on ESPN? No. Or I don't care much about professional tennis, but I like Djokovic. I mean, really a lot. Novak Djokovic, he's Serbian, he's Orthodox. How cool is that? So is Giannis. So that's cool. I mean, I follow Orthodox and Christian sports figures. So narrow it down. Let me pick it. They won't. So anyway, I disagree with this. We'll cross this out. Fishburne. I always tag him in this, and he's a really super nice guy. He lets me use his stuff all the time, with permission from his wife, actually. They also so while we maybe expect personalized, and we have very low expectations because it's basically awful, yet they also graded attempts by marketers to collect personal data about them to deliver these personal experiences. Okay? And so we have this paradox. We want personalization, but it's done very, 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 very poorly. So basically, we'd rather you just don't bother to ask, and we'll find our stuff best we can on your website. Okay, the default, make the navigation solid. That's probably more important to me than the personalization. Let me find the Bubba Watson stories, at least. ESPN is not the best. Okay, so the default mode has been to collect as much consumer data, and we use that term data loosely, as much anything, any conjecture, any mildly possible information as possible. As we can collect as much as we might infer something from them, right? Kind of like when you drive past a McDonald's and your GPS says, Big Macs are on sale. I don't ever eat Big Macs. I don't care. I don't want personalized information. Filet-O-Fish on a fast day, can't even eat that. You're so far away from understanding the way I make decisions that it's a joke. Just admit that it's a joke, right? I always like to inject the story that that let's ask shoppers on their way into Walmart what they're going to get. And then let's check the carts on the way out. What are the odds that somebody comes out with what they expected? No more, no less. And if it's any less than 1 in 100, I would be surprised. Probably even more remote than that, because they could be out of. I used this line at the show, and they really liked it. You know, I know you want 9mm, but they just don't. They're always out of it. I don't have a 9mm anyway, so I just happen to have been back there and noticed that there wasn't much selection. You know, so whatever you're trying to buy, maybe they're out of it. Maybe they've changed brands. I went to the gourmet grocery store that looks more like a jewelry store, and they were out of my Grof's 50/50 sour mix, so I had to buy Squirt. And they were almost out of that. I got a great deal though. Okay, so now marketers are going to lean data. You know what the best data is? And this is not just from me. This is from Stephen Yu, one of the best data guys who writes articles now on Adweek. Excellent. Anything he writes, you should read. Okay? And I'm almost always talk about Stephen Yu's stuff. But he says the best information is transaction data. What did they buy as a result of your marketing pitch? What did they buy? And to really understand that and to get good marketing data, you want to know who engaged with your marketing message. Not who was exposed to it, not whose screen it was on, but who actually looked at it and read it and made a decision about it. And then you can start asking yourself, did they decide positively and buy? Or did they decide negatively and not buy? But at least you'll have a labeled data set with which to start the analysis. And that, my friends, is only available in direct mail with direct mail marketing understanding, because you have to set up the test properly. You can't just mail willy-nilly. You got to think about what you're doing. And for that, you might want to find an old guy who's been testing for millions of years, like some of us. You know, heck, if evolution can claim the world is 4 billion years old, then I can claim 1 million years of marketing experience. And no one's left to challenge it. They're all gone. Okay, I'm not supposed to laugh so much. Yeah. Okay. So then there's the data that consumers are willing to share. Well, that is at best. We're going to talk about that a little bit. So zero data is, according to Forrester, who supposedly coined the term, zero-party data is that which the consumer intentionally and proactively shares with a brand. And here's the trouble. It doesn't give you much to work with. Okay? Well, so now we'll go over to, Ray Schultz had this funny article. A law firm's email system mixed up personal pronouns. They were making a point to use the he, she, the he, him, or she, her. But most of the time when you write marketing copy, she and her are both third-party pronouns. Why would you write in third party? Best to write in second party. You will be amazed. You deserve a break today. Why would you even use third? Never mind. Anyway, that's another. But I mean, you know what I'm saying? These are objective pronouns in the third person. Doesn't make any sense to put them in your copy. There's a big tip for you if you want to avoid this problem. But I love this part. The law firm's IT system, always blame the system, not the people, changed these at random. So they had bad copywriters. This company, this doesn't deserve to market. Anyway, let's go on. Okay, now let's explain zero-party data by Tim Cross. Excellent article, well worth reading. It'll be available in the show notes at wdma.org if you subscribe, which is free. Okay, first-party data, unlike third-party data, is gained through a direct relationship with a customer. So third-party data, they can take that you signed up for a gym membership, and let's say it's Planet Fitness or some big gymnasium. That's Andrew Ettinger, I think, works with them in their marketing. And I think so. I'm not 100% sure. But he has some big fitness client, I know that. And does a great job. I love Andrew and what he has to say and his thought-provoking commercials. Anyway, So let's say you join that, and you're not thinking about it too much, but back to Fishburne's example, let's say you then get an email or a notification that since you didn't show up at the gym today, you might need new tennis shoes. That would be super creepy. That's the way third-party data can work. You hardly notice them because they're so oblique and eccentric and unrelated to your actual life, except in some way that's creepy that you don't, they're just super ineffective. And so Apple has decided to remove them and even allow their users to decline. In fact, they default declined, as LinkedIn did when they decided to let you opt out of your email. They by default declined everybody, which essentially destroyed their own ability to use email because I declined it. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. That was so stupid. Anyway, so another term's come along, this zero-party data. Zero-party data is like first-party data in that it has a direct relationship with the consumer, but zero-party data is willingly given by the consumer, and it sounds great, right? Not only that, but some systems allow the consumer to go in and edit the data. So what could be the downside of that, right? The downside is, for example, Hammacher Schlemmer said we'd like consumers to have the ability of user control to edit the data. They had a new compliance officer when we started, and in their contract, and this is important to you data providers, they wanted me to agree to meet the regulations of the CCPA. And I objected and declined and said, go find another data company. If we all did that, we might get reasonable contracts. But they said, whoa, wait a minute, why? Why would you do that? You might get us in trouble. I said, I'm not getting you in trouble. You can't comply with that. I said, first of all, when a customer says, don't mail me anymore, the dumbest thing you can do is take that customer record off your file. Okay? Because when a customer says, don't mail me anymore, what you really want to do is you want to save their name and suppress it from future mailings, even rented lists. Because CCPA gives the consumer the right to directly sue your butt. And they could say, see, I got a new catalog. See right here, they mailed me again. And I told them, don't mail me again. Now, the nuances of that mailing will be lost on the consumer. You say, well, we didn't mail you from our list. We deleted you from our list. That's from a different list that you bought from. You bought from Land's End, and so we decided to mail Land's End's customers, and you should be talking to them. Consumer says, yeah, but I didn't ask them not to mail me. I like Land's End. I don't like you, and I'm suing you. So that's just not a rational strategy to actually give the consumer what they want. The only rational strategy is let's suppress them from all future mailings best we can. Suppress their address, maybe suppress their apartment building because they're obviously litigious people in there. Okay, secondly, how are we going to send them the data to evaluate? Because the CCPA requires you to send them data. Now, wait a minute. So we have about 250 variables that we build for each consumer address based on the public information census data. It's tied right in with their customer file. And the only way you can make any sense of it is within our system. I mean, I couldn't make any sense of it, period, if I didn't have the system telling me, oh, this one here means income. They're in a high, medium, or low income neighborhood. The system keeps track of that. If I sent them their record, it would have lots of 3s, 2s, and 1s in it on all their geodemographics, or whether they buy during the full moon. I can hardly explain that one, and we build it. Yes, we do. And sometimes it's really valuable. And with real-time marketing, you can make money with it. Okay, so we can't just give them access to their data. It doesn't even make any sense, right? Okay, then the next thing is, what about self-reported? So, Apple has basically said you can even shield your email. And we already talked about that. So Amazon years ago asked me what kind of books I like. And I said, I like Christian books. And it wasn't listed. Only spiritual was listed. And I said, okay, I like hunting books. It wasn't listed. Only outdoors was listed. And so I got recommendations from Amazon about, be kind to the earth, environmentalism. Which is, you can believe in whatever you want to believe in. But to recommend it to me, a Christian hunter, was not up my alley. And so I blocked Amazon, and I just dumped all their emails from then on into my delete folder. Okay? So even self-reported data has a downside. What about, and so now we're doing modeling. I mean, this was back when we were doing modeling for Cabela's. They said, can we use our survey data in modeling? So they had millions and millions of names. I said, how many survey answers did you get? And they said, oh, we got a lot. We got a really good response. I said, how many? And they said 5,000. I said, then you can market to those 5,000 based on the answers they gave. But that doesn't help you with the other 10 million or whatever it was. It doesn't give you anything to work with on them. And so self-reported data oftentimes only represents a minuscule sliver of your customer file, which means that it's almost completely worthless for actually modeling your customers. And maybe you don't get that, but that's the bottom line on zero-party data. So have a great day. Like and share. Your friends will know you're smart. Bye-bye. Let's see. I got to turn this off sometime.